This is Top Accolade Global News Update. I am Abiodun Mohammed. The head of the UN nuclear watchdog has warned that whoever fired artillery at Ukraine's Zaporizhia nuclear plant was playing with fire as his team prepared to inspect it on Monday for damage from the weekend strikes. The attacks on Europe's biggest nuclear power plant in the south of Ukraine came as battles raged in the east, where Russian forces pounded Ukrainian positions along the front line, President Volodymyr Zelensky said. The shelling of the Zaporizhia nuclear power station follows setbacks for Russian forces in the Kherson region in the south and a Russian response that has included a barrage of missile strikes across the country, many on power facilities. The International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) said more than a dozen blasts shook the nuclear power plant late on Saturday and on Sunday. IAEA head Rafael Grossi said the attacks were extremely disturbing and completely unacceptable. Russia and Ukraine blamed each other for the shelling of the facility, as they have done repeatedly in recent months after attacks on heat or near heat. Citing information provided by plant management, an IAEA team on the ground said there had been damage to some buildings, systems and equipment, but none of them critical for nuclear safety and security. Students in schools across several Beijing districts buckled down for online classes on Monday after officials called for residents in some of its hardest hit areas to stay home as COVID cases in China's capital and across the country ticked higher. China is fighting numerous COVID-19 flare-ups from Zhengzhou in central Henan province to Chongqing in the southwest. It reported 26,824 new local cases for Sunday, nearing the country's daily pandemic peak in April. It also recorded 2 deaths in Beijing, up from 1 on Saturday, which was China's first since late May. Guangzhou, a southern city of nearly 90 million people that is battling the largest of China's recent outbreaks, ordered a 5-day lockdown for Baiyun, its most populous district. It also suspended dine-in services and short nightclubs and theaters in the city's main business district. The latest wave is testing China's resolve to stick to adjustments it has made to its zero-COVID policy, which calls for cities to be more targeted in their clampdown measures and steer away from widespread lockdowns and testing that have strangled the economy and frustrated residents. Asian share market and oil prices slipped on Monday as investors fretted about the economic fallout from the intensifying COVID situation in China, with the risk aversion benefiting bonds and the dollar. An earthquake rattled Indonesia's main island of Java, damaging dozens of buildings and killing at least 17 people, with fears the casualty figures could drastically rise. The US Geological Survey said the magnitude 5.6 earthquake on Monday was centered in the Cianjur region in West Java province at a depth of 10 kilometers. It sent residents in the capital, Jakarta, running to the streets for safety. The earthquake killed at least 17 people and injured many others, the National Disaster Mitigation Agency said. Dozens of buildings were damaged, including an Islamic boarding school, a hospital, and other public facilities. Herman Suherman, a government official from Cianjur, told newsmen as many as 20 people were killed and 300 more injured. Adam, spokesman for the local administration in Cianjur town, 75 kilometers southeast of Jakarta, told newsmen dozens of people were dead. Mozambican water authorities say around 300,000 people are at risk of being affected by flooding along the Zambezi Basin during the current rainy season, which runs between October and March. At the beginning of this year, the Zambezi Basin floods left a trail of destruction, including a bridge on the Revubu River, whose central deck was destroyed and is currently undergoing reconstruction. Many homes were destroyed, including state institutions. The scenario could be repeated during the current rainy season, where moderate and above normal rains are forecast. The situation is being worsened by discharges from the Kahora Bassa Dam since the beginning of October. The latest alert focuses on people living near rivers. There are more than 800,000 people along the Zambezi Basin, of which around 300,000 are exposed to floods, according to the State Water Resources Agency. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa will on Wednesday formally open a new 650-seat parliament in the capital, Harare, that was funded by China. President Mnangagwa will use the occasion to deliver a State of the Nation address, the state-run Herald newspaper reports, quoting the clerk of parliament. The finance minister will on the next day present the 2023 national budget. The newspaper adds, China funded the project as a gift to Zimbabwe. It houses the National Assembly and the Senate. A Chinese company was behind the construction. New Zealand's highest court ruled on Monday that the country's current voting age of 18 was discriminatory, forcing Parliament to discuss whether it should be lowered. The case, which has been going through the court since 2020, was brought by advocacy group Make It 16, which wants the age lowered to include 16 and 17-year-olds. The Supreme Court found that the current voting age of 18 was inconsistent with the country's Bill of Rights, which gives people a right to be free from age discrimination when they have reached 16. The decision triggers a process in which the issue must come before Parliament for discussion and be reviewed by a parliamentary select committee, but it does not force Parliament to change the voting age. The group says on its website there is insufficient justification to stop 16-year-olds from voting when they can drive, work full-time and pay tax. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said the government would draft legislation to reduce the age to 16, which could then be put to a vote in Parliament. Taiwanese chipmaker TSMC is planning to produce chips with advanced 3nm technology at its new factory in the US state of Arizona, but the plans are not completely finalized yet, the company's founder, Maurice Chang, said on Monday. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., a major Apple supplier and the world's largest contract chip maker, is constructing a $12 billion plant in Arizona. Last year, Top Accolade News gathered TSMC's plans to build more chip-making factories in Arizona, including discussions about whether its next plant should be more advanced, which could make chips with 3nm technology compared with the slower, less efficient 5nm chips that will be churned out when the facility begins production. Chang, speaking to reporters in Taipei after returning from the APEC summit in Thailand, said the 3nm plant would be located at the same Arizona site as the 5nm plant. TSMC, Asia's most valuable listed company, declined to comment. The company is holding a tool-in ceremony in Arizona on December 6th. Chang said he would be attending along with TSMC customers and suppliers and US Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo. Chang added that US President Joe Biden has also been invited, but that he did not know if he would be going. That is the size of Top Accolade Global News updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy New Week!